All right, so I am here in my car, and I usually don't like to talk about political things anymore because, you know, a lot of things, but also because of what just recently happened that kind of I feel like it's going to make a lot of people reconsider uh being so openly political. But I think it's also something I just wanted to kind of talk about because I'm just genuinely surprised at this sort of thing. It's fucking insane. So basically, I mean, if you don't know, which I don't know how you don't know at this point because it's fucking everywhere, uh, there's a guy named Charlie Kirk who I think I don't know if he's the founder or whatever, but he's heavily associated with Turning Point USA, which is like a right wing sort of organization that, pushes for right wing stuff and all that, whatever. And if I'm being honest, it's like I don't like a lot of right wing stuff anymore. I used to, and then, that kind of shifted. That's a whole other potential discussion someday. But that's not really the place of this today. Basically, he just got assassinated. Like, actually just got assassinated. Which is fucking crazy. Like, I mean, I guess technically there have been some, like, big assassinations in my lifetime, and obviously there was the Trump assassination attempt last year. That was a big thing. But, like, this is a whole other fucking thing. It's actually insane that this happened. And I feel like a lot of this stuff has been happening in recent times. I mean, apparently there's even some guy who stabbed a woman on a bus or on a train. So I don't know the whole thing. But the point is that this stuff is happening a lot, and it's actually fucking crazy. I obviously don't necessarily like Charlie Kirk and all that, and I don't like a lot of similar figures to him. But it is baffling that this is what people think that they need to do in order to, change people's minds or, to make political change. They think that there's just fucking no other option, I guess, other than to fucking kill people. It's genuinely fucking crazy. Actually insane. And it genuinely sucks because there was no fucking reason for him to die. Genuinely no reason. Now there's just people, now he has a wife who has to live without him and children that are going to have to live without a father now. Or at least without, their biological father. That fucking is a tragedy in itself. And I think people that are saying, like, oh, he fucking deserved it or some shit is, that's just fucking crazy. Like, how can you not rationalize that this is a human fucking life? And regardless of whatever fucking political squabbles on Twitter you might have, like, this is not acceptable. It doesn't matter if you don't like the guy or his views. It's fucking, it's far more than that. But I guess the other thing I really wanted to say also is that this, obviously this itself is a big story. But I think also part of the problem is that this isn't like the only thing. Like, this is probably the highest, or one of the highest profile like assassinations that's happened in a while. And it's a really fucking big tragedy. But there's a lot of other stuff that happens like this too that just doesn't get talked about. Like, apparently, I don't actually fully know the details, but there was like a school shooting yesterday too. You know? There's that. And then, I mean, even in terms of political assassinations, there was a fucking Minnesota senator that was assassinated. And the crazy thing about that is that really didn't get talked about like at all. Like, honestly, I barely even knew that happened. And it's such like a different contrast to what happened, you know, with the Charlie Kirk stuff. It's fucking kind of mind-blowing to a degree, and especially because, you know, the right didn't really seem to care. Like, I think a lot of people, even on the left, are like, yeah, this is fucking disgusting that this happened to Charlie Kirk and all that. But people really didn't give a fuck when a Minnesota senator was just killed. And I believe it was her and her husband, I think, were both killed. And nobody really gave a fuck. I think even, I don't know if this is 100% true, because I'm not looking into this that deep, but I know there's like something that Trump said that he didn't want to call the governor or whatever because he's whacked out because it was Tim Walz or whatever, and, you know, he was running with Kamala. I think that's fucking insane. I think that's just so delusional. Because, again, like, it's a fucking human life. This isn't like, you know, this isn't like fucking they broke their ankle or some shit. It's literally human life, and like, it feels like people just don't care. You know, when it happens to somebody they don't like. It only matters when it happens to somebody that they do like. And that's fucking crazy to me because, you know, when I was growing up, I never felt like I only cared when it was the good people, right? I feel like, or the perceived good people, I should say. Like, I feel like a tragedy is just a fucking tragedy. That's what it is. A tragedy is a tragedy. And if you're trying to make it into something that it isn't, that's just fucking disrespectful. But basically, to kind of, you know, go back to what I was saying, it felt like things were not like this before. And I think there's like a couple key kind of points you can mention with this. Obviously there's 2020. I feel like 2020 was kind of a big shift. And I have a coworker that said, you know, life, it used to be easy. And, you know, now it's not easy anymore. Everybody is angry and everybody's fucking, you know, on edge. And they're just fucking, you know, things are so much harder now than they used to be, even just a couple years ago. And I honestly agree with that a lot because it's crazy to see how angry just people are, you know? It's like, I always try to remain open-minded and, you know, try to be neutral when I can. I guess some people are going to say, you know, oh, you're an enlightened centrist or something. But it's just like, I mean, I'm just someone who's open-minded, and I'm not just, you know, sticking to one side because I think they're the good guys. which again is like a whole other thing on kind of how I ended up where I did politically. But I guess to give like a short summary, I mean, I started out on the right and, slowly got pushed away because basically if you weren't, fully on board with every single thing that Trump did, people would call you a fucking, a shill, or you're just a Democrat, or you're a rhino, or whatever. They basically would just push you out if you didn't fully accept everything, which, I mean, I'm trying to be fucking open-minded, and like there are things that I believe in that don't align with that, and so, being called fucking not a real fucking right-winger because I don't support one thing because I have fucking principles is crazy to me. And then, that kind of put me center-ish, almost left, to be honest. And that's just kind of where I am now. But, I never really had strong political beliefs, I think, before 2016, because number one, I was a kid. I was like a kid / teenager who did not give a single fuck. If the world, I mean, there were times where I was like, if the world fucking just completely burned tomorrow, I wouldn't give a fuck. I didn't care. I didn't care about the future at all. And then 2016 came around. That's when things really became divisive, I feel. And I feel like that kind of heated things up to where they are now, where like now we just have fucking political assassinations happening and shit, and it's unreal. It's fucking disgusting. But I think if there is kind of a silver lining, it's that I hope maybe people will, look at this and go, where the fuck have we gone? Why are we here? I think social media does not help this shit at all, because you are going to find insane people on social media. And I think social media now has radicalized so many people that, you'll get people who make fun of this sort of thing. And it's just crazy. But I also kind of think, in a way, that some of these people, like even Charlie Kirk himself, kind of, were the people that were also stoking the flames of this, because, for example, Charlie Kirk, he, I think, Nancy Pelosi's husband got like attacked a couple of years ago by a guy who wanted to like kidnap Nancy Pelosi or whatever. And Charlie Kirk literally made a joke about it. It was like, we need to bail this guy out. We need I think a midterm hero is what he said, or something like that. And it's like, that is fucking crazy. That, like, we should never be okay with political violence against our opponents, because guess what happens? This stuff happens because now they've seen that you are essentially justifying political violence, and then they think, well, I guess it's justified to use political violence against this guy. I just think, like, it people need to actually denounce shit when bad things happen to people they don't like, instead of just joking about it and then only, doing the thoughts and prayers thing when it's somebody that you care about. It's fucking something that needs to end, genuinely. And, I'm not going to say that lefties are, like, perfect either. I mean, you could look at, like, Hassan saying, America deserved 9/11, or you could look at, like, I don't know, Destiny or something, where he, mocked that firefighter that died during the Trump assassination attempt, that sort of thing. Like, that shit is also bad. But I have no problem denouncing that and being like, yeah, that's fucked up. But it feels like people don't want to do that because they don't want to, they don't want to give any sort of points to the fucking other guys that they don't like. Even though I don't even think it's really giving points. I think it's just being a fucking decent human being. It never was like this before. When I was a kid, when I was a kid, like 9/11 happened. And even though, people had their differences, people came together during 9/11, which ironically, it is 9/11 today. But the thing is that, people actually put aside their differences and came together on 9/11 because they realized how, important it is to help others, even if you don't agree with them. And I feel like our country was actually like unified back then. I feel like even, during like, the Bush and Obama years, never felt like things were truly, divided like they are now. And now everybody's just on edge. Everybody fucking hates each other. Like, if you don't conform to exactly what someone believes in, they just fucking hate you. It's crazy. And I think a lot of it really does stem from the internet and just the fact that now we have, first off, we have people that, they are always online, so they just see all this shit, and it's just, they're just completely radicalized. But then also there are, also I think that it doesn't help when you're online. Number one, you're stuck in an echo chamber, and then number two, you have probably a shitload of bots, to be honest. Bots are just becoming ever more prevalent, especially now that AI exists, and like, it's not just going to be programmed to say some specific thing. It can, use general intelligence to say something that kind of fits the conversation. That's just a serious issue. Serious issue. And I think that the more the internet continues to devolve the way it is, the worse it's going to get. And that's why I just tend to like advocate for people going outside and not, being on the fucking internet all the time. I think the touch grass thing could be a little kind of, derogatory. I don't think it's the right word. But, it could be a little pointed and kind of like mean-spirited. But there also is some serious fucking truth to it, because fucking, man, I feel like people need to go outside more. Because I feel like when you meet a person in real life, it's way different than online. I feel like online, so much context is lost, and so much expression and I guess kind of respect is just lost because it's just words on a screen or, a specific camera angle. It's not like you don't really feel that you're talking to a real person. And that's a problem that I think we can only really solve by just fucking talking in real life. I feel like you can even have, some kind of far-right MAGA guy and like a socialist or something, and they can still find actual common ground in real life. But when they're online, they're just gonna fucking yell at each other and call each other whatever fucking labels. That, I think, is our ultimate problem. So if you're still watching this video, I would probably just say go outside. Unless, I guess you're like a large political commentator, because at this point, probably don't want to take the risk of getting assassinated anytime soon. Because apparently that's where we're fucking at now. Apparently you can just fucking be assassinated because people don't like your political beliefs. Even if, you know, you're not a fucking politician, you're just a guy who says shit, you can still have that happen to you, apparently. And that's part of the reason I really don't like talking about politics, because I don't want to fucking have a target on my head for something that I believe in that I don't even believe in that strongly. But, yeah. I'm gonna go do something else. And not really think about politics, because that's not really a part of my life that much anymore. And, yeah, I guess that's it.